If you're a Yu-Gi-Oh fan like I am, then you probably already know that 4Kids did make a go at an uncut dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! And if you didn't know that, surprise, now you got something you probably want to go watch. After this video, of course. One thing that we're very familiar with is all the weird choices 4Kids made in the original dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! But one thing you never really hear anyone talk about is some of the odd choices made for the uncut dub, and that's what we're going over today. But first, if you like these kind of videos and you want to see more, make sure to subscribe to Anime Dude so you don't miss any new vids, and make sure to give this video a thumbs up. The first thing that really stood out to me watching the uncut dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that the Pharaoh is no longer the narrator in the prologue. Now it's just some random ass guy talking about the Shadow Games. Now I don't know about you, but to me, the Pharaoh narrating the story of Yu-Gi-Oh! Makes way more sense to me than Duelist B or C. The second odd thing that stands out to me is going to be a little bit of a surprise. It had way too direct of a script translation. Now I know what you're thinking, but Dylan, isn't that a good thing? Normally, yeah, you would say that, but after actually hearing it, you'll notice what I'm talking about. They drag out sentences way too long in this. I mean, just because a dub's uncut doesn't mean you can't abbreviate words. For example,
"And what will you wager against my extra star chip, Yugi?"
"My life as a duelist. I will wager this card deck."
Now how'd that sound? A little odd, I know. And while we're on the subject of the script, the next thing I want to go over is the stale acting. Now, I know 4Kids isn't really liked in the anime world, and rightly so for what they've done to certain anime. But one thing you may have noticed watching the edited dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! Hey, their acting's not half bad. Which makes it even weirder that the second time dubbing the same episodes, the acting just took a nosedive. I mean, 30% of the time, it sounds like the actors are just reading their lines as they say them. It couldn't have been because they were in a hurry. I mean, the uncut dub was a straight-to-video release, and if they're going to take all the time and effort to redub episodes they already have a dub for, you'd think they'd want it to be at least just as good as their first go-around. And for some reason, 4Kids felt the need to keep the age of the Shadow Games at 5,000 years old instead of the correct 3,000. Now, it's not really an uncut dub if you're still changing things. Maybe they forgot 5,000 was their idea. I will agree, 5,000 sounds way less random than 3, but it's still not right. One of the oddest choices by far for the uncut dub was the name mashup. All of the main cast had their names morphed into some kind of English-Japanese hybrid. Junichi Katsuya in the edited dub, his name was changed to Joey Wheeler, but in the uncut dub, he's...
"And I'm his best friend, Katsuya Joey. And these are our funny sidekicks."
Now that was weird. Again, 4Kids, if you're gonna change stuff, it's not an uncut dub. We talked about how the narrator for the prologue that plays before each episode changed for the uncut dub. Another odd thing about the uncut dub is the prologue itself seems to change episode to episode. They even swapped voice actors for a couple episodes, then swapped back. Now, the wording didn't change that much from episode to episode, but it's still worth noting. The first reason we got for 4Kids quitting the uncut dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! Made literally no sense. They started out by saying they didn't want it to compete with their edited release. Okay, why'd you start it then? Later we found out there was actually some licensing issues for the audio for Yugi's voice actor. Now that makes way more sense than them saying, well, we didn't expect the uncut dub to actually sell, so when we found out it was actually people were buying it up, we decided to shut that shit down. But even that doesn't make much sense because they decided to stop the uncut dub of Shaman King around the same time, with a Volume 3 scheduled with a release date, but that never came out. Now I think 4Kids was hiding something, either that or they got lazy. This next one drove me absolutely nuts, and that's where they decided to stop releasing episodes. They decided to stop at episode 9, Yugi vs. Fake Kaiba. They showed half of the duel and then quit. Now, they had way more episodes than this dub because they already had a Volume 4 planned with a cover reveal and a release date. I know they said that there were some audio issues, fine, whatever, but you still could have released the episodes you had dubbed, maybe even just mute audio in the Japanese version, or even just release the dub only. The next one up is more of a fun fact than anything. We know there was a 4th volume titled Black Frame, Red Eyes, Black Dragon scheduled to come out, but what you may not know is there was actually a 5th volume planned with a release date of May 31st, 2005. I wasn't able to find a title or release date on it, but this means there was at least 15 episodes of the uncut dub made. While we're on fun facts, here's another one for you. This one's actually about the edited dub. Do you guys remember how when Kids WB was airing the new episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh!, Cartoon Network started airing reruns? Well, here's something weird that happened in the Cartoon Network airing. There was this one scene where Yugi summons the Celtic Guardian, but actually calls him by his original name, the Elf Swordsman. I don't know why they decided to use Celtic Guardian's name that one time, but it was just that one time. I mean, they literally had to record Dan Green saying Elf Swordsman and put it in the dub. I've never been able to find any info on this. It's like they wanted to erase the slip-up from Yu-Gi-Oh history. Let me know down in the comments if you ever heard it or if you have any info on it. While we're on the subject of original names, here's another odd 4Kids Uncut dub choice. They kept all the edited names for the monsters the same, like Black Magician was still Dark Magician. This one makes a little bit more sense because the Dark Magician was a big name at the time, and the TCG had Dark Magician printed on the card. At least they kept all the attack names the original ones, but like I said before, it's not uncut if it's changed. Anyway, there's all the odd things I noticed watching the uncut dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! All kidding and complaining aside, I'm glad we got the releases, even though there were so few. Make sure to comment below and let us know your thoughts on the dub, and if you noticed any odd choices made by 4Kids for this dub, make sure to let us know. Oh yeah, and if you haven't seen it yet, be sure to go check out my edited vs. uncut dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! Vid, and like it up if you want to see more.